distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm good morning to all of you. I'm Neha Tiwari, and on behalf of NIT University, it is my privilege to welcome you all to the 11th Convocation ceremony. I wish you and your families my personal best for your health and safety in these difficult times. It is the momentous occasion for the university and our graduates as well. Because of this unprecedented situation, we are unable to welcome you all in person at the campus, but share and cherish this special moment with you virtually to enjoy the mirth of this occasion. I have the honor of inviting the Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Arunabha Ghosh, CEO, CEEW, Council for Energy, Environment and Water, Mr. Rajendra Singh Pawar, Founder, NIT University, Mr. Vijay Kumar Thadani, Co-Founder, NIT University, and Professor Rajesh Khanna, President, NIT University, to grace the occasion and bless all our 264 graduates. As said by Ms. Marian Wright Edelman, and I quote, "Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it," unquote. Indeed, this also resonates with the vision of NIT University, which is to be a role model of learning, research, innovation, and sustainability. We take immense pride in our students' success, and it's gratified to bestow them with the degrees of honors. To mark the auspicious beginning of the ceremony, let us pay tribute to Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. I request the dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp. शारदे मा सरस्वती शारदे मूढ ईश अज्ञान उददिसे मूढ ईश अज्ञान उददिसे वीणा पाणी तार दे मा सरस्वती शारदे मा सरस्वती शारदे मा सरस्वती शारदे. Thank you, music team, for such a melodious rendition. I have the honor to invite our founder, Mr. Rajendra Singh Pawar, to initiate the proceedings of the session.
Good morning, friends, and a very hearty welcome to the 11th Convocation of NU. I'd like to welcome, of course, every one of you who is graduating today, but particularly the parents and the family members of our graduating Newtons who have put faith in us and waited, I'm sure, with eagerness to arrive at this moment. I want to congratulate this batch of Newtons because you've experienced a very unusual last year of final year, and you've demonstrated enormous capability and resilience, and I will talk about that later, but congratulations for that as well. It is customary for me every year in the convocation to spend a few minutes talking about the changes in the environment since the previous convocation. And this year has been unusual, and I'll touch on three different facets of the environment where we've seen change. Perhaps the most productive change we've seen is the new education policy that the Government of India launched on 29th of July 2020. The policy was authored and led by Dr. Kasturi Rangan, the eminent space scientist, and I'm glad to inform you that he became the Chancellor of our university on 24th November 2020. He has been a friend of NU for a very long time, in fact, even before the idea came into shape, but he became a founding professor at our invitation in 2008. And having visited this campus often, has seen us do many things. So we felt vindicated when the policy came because it truly resonates with the four core principles on which NIT's university's early phase is predicated. And the four core principles are to be industry-linked, to be technology-based, to be research-driven, and to be seamless. And in each of these dimensions, we can see how many paragraphs are devoted in the new education policy. So we feel vindicated, and we feel that we've been serving this dimension of education reform since our inception. The second dimension of the change in environment, and a difficult one and a global one, was COVID, which has caused a huge amount of hardship to people all across the world. But I have to say that during this period, both NU in general and Newtons in particular demonstrated exceptional resilience, agility, and adaptability. And NU showed great speed and agility in opening and closing with safety. Now, I know, and all of you know, that challenges create opportunities. And this challenge of last 1 year, which all of you have handled so well, improved our ability to respond, improved our reflexes, and I saw students taking much greater ownership and responsibility for their own development as they were learning on their own, and showed perseverance and grit as well. The third facet of the environment that I talk about every year, and I want to talk about now, is the NU environment. So in earlier years, it was basically a lot of discussion and updating on how the campus environment is changing physically. I won't go into length on that, but I do want to say that while the water levels, groundwater levels everywhere are dropping precipitously year after year, in the last 1 year, the groundwater level has gone up by 0.5 meter in our campus area. The air quality is much better, and we've added many more trees this year. And each of you graduating Newtons leave behind a few hundred trees which are 20 feet and taller. And we would like you to know that they will continue to grow year after year, as you will. And we are sure that you'll come back to look at your tree and see how it's doing over a period of time. Now, sustainability, which is part of seamlessness, is an important thing and has been an important thing, and is becoming perhaps the world's number one concern as COVID settles and goes back, and that is climate change. And we thought it appropriate this year to have as a convocation speaker a person who is a thought leader on the subject of environment, energy, and water. And Dr. Arunava Ghosh, who's a speaker, will talk about that. And I'm sure that every one of you who's lived in this environment-sensitive university will connect with the idea he's expressing, but I'm sure he'll raise your desire and expectation and aspiration to do very much more to look after our world and our earth. The other dimension of our physical environment, which became an important issue this year, was that when COVID hit, NU set up a large quarantine center on the other side of the highway to help the city of Nimrana and the neighboring villages to cope with the problem should there be a large outbreak and that people would need quarantine. The second thing that happened during that time is that just outside the campus we have a large set of workers from the building projects in the neighborhood who live in the shanties who were without work, and from the time the COVID hit for a fairly extended period, NU was feeding these people by the hundreds every day. So this is our commitment to our community and is an aspect of seamlessness of us and our neighboring world. And I'm quite sure that every one of you who's graduating from here has imbibed these core principles and has become aware of the environment issue and will play a big role in it. And we do know that all of you have made your choices of where you want to go next, good choices, whether it's in companies or startups or research bodies or universities. And you do us proud by having yet another year of great success in your next step in the journey. And I congratulate you for that as well. And as I said, delighted to have all of you here and welcome once again.
Thank you, sir. Now it is the time to dwell in the reminiscence and tread together in the memory lane. So here we present the glimpses of 4 years of your journey at NIT University. Thank you. May I now request our President, Professor Rajesh Khanna, Chairman, Academic Council, to declare the convocation open.
I declare the convocation open.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Sushil Kalyani, Area Director Management, to present the candidate for the award of Doctor of Philosophy degree.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the candidate Sanjeev Dhar, to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, and pray that he may be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipient.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
Sanjeev Dhar.
May I now request Professor Debashish Sen Gupta, Area Director Computer Science, to present the candidate for the award of the Doctor of Philosophy degree.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the candidate Prashant Baral, to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, and pray that he may be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipient.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
Prashant Baral.
May I now request Professor Sudeep Sanyal, Dean Engineering, to present the candidates for the award of Master of Technology in Educational Technology.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the three candidates to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Technology in Education Technology, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Master of Technology in Education Technology.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Technology in Educational Technology, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Technology in Educational Technology and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
The candidates are Nilanjana Chakravarti, Shelly Sajdev, Ankita Gupta.
May I now request Professor Sudeep Sanyal, Dean Engineering, to present the candidates for the award of Master of Technology in Geographic Information Systems.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you four candidates to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Technology in Geographic Information System and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Master of Technology in Geographic Information Systems.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of an IIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Technology in Geographic Information Systems, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Technology in Geographic Information Systems and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
The candidates are Ananya Sharma, Medha Pathak, Vamika Mathur, Somik Chakraborty.
May I now request Professor Sudeep Sanyal, Dean Engineering, to present the candidates for the award of Master of Science Integrated in Computer Science.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you 5 candidates to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of degree of Master of Science Integrated in Computer Science, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Master of Science Integrated in Computer Science.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of an IIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Science Integrated in Computer Science, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Science Integrated in Computer Science and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
The candidates are Akanksha Tiwari, Bandi Lasya Praharshini, Nishita Agarwal, Rohan Rajendra Nayak, Vaibhav Srivastav.
May I now request Dr. Sushil Kalyani, Area Director Management, to present the candidates for the award of the Master of Business Administration.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the candidates, 3, to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Business Administration, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Master of Business Administration.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of an IIT University, and recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Business Administration, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Business Administration and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
Amitava Majumdar, Sangeeta Nandan, Shom Shubra Mukherjee.
May I now request Dr. Sushil Kalyani, Area Director Management, to present the candidates for the award of the Master of Business Administration in Business Analytics.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the candidates, 20, to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Business Administration in Business Analytics, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Master of Business Administration in Business Analytics.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of an IIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Business Administration in Business Analytics, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Business Administration in Business Analytics and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
Abhilasha, Abhishek Nigam, Aditya Bandil, Aher Taral Dhyaneshwar, Amrit Kaur, Anjita Nair, Archit Agarwal, Malviya Bhavesh Rajesh, Devika Singh, Dimpy Tyagi, Gudupalli Navateja, Kesa Sandeep, Keshav Singla, Menda Kartik, Nikita Sethi, Poonam Mishra, Pranjal Katuria, Shalabh Sharma, Sunil Kumar Pal, Vivek Kumar Prasad.
May I now request Dr. Sushil Kalyani, Area Director Management, to present the candidates for the award of Master of Business Administration in Intelligent Data Sciences.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you the candidates 60 to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Business Administration in Intelligent Data Science, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Master of Business Administration in Intelligent Data Science.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Master of Business Administration in Intelligent Data Science, I confer upon you the degree of Master of Business Administration in Intelligent Data Science and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
Akshay Kumar, Arpit Shukla, Deshpande Vicky Vijay, Dinesh Kumar Saini, Navdeep Singh, Vidushi, Akrit Vivek, Abhishek Bhatia, Abhishek Jain, Abhishek Singh, Aditi Behra, Akshat Bansal, Akshat Deep, Alam Seti Narayan Sai Srinivas Bharat, Anjali Gupta, Ankit Sethi, Arko Chakrabarti, Arpit Singhal, Ashish Chauhan, Ashish Kumar Swami, Chayan Chatterjee, Chetan Kumar BK, Chiranjeev Singh, Divyanshu Malik, Gautam Passi, Gurappa Shekhar Sank, Harish Kumar K, Himanshu Pandey, Kaustav Mitra, Kavya C. N, Kshitij Chauhan, Lamitha S, Lokesh Sharma, Mohit Kumar, Neha Gaur, Nelluri Suresh Kumar, P. Ashish Kumar, Pallab Rajpuri, Rahul Yadav, Rajesh Singla, Rakesh Kumar, Rakesh Kumar Sharma, Ramini Rakesh Kumar, Riya Jain, Roshan Kumar, S. Suman Patra, Sambit Kumar Samanta, Seelam Ankaluguri Ram Sai Nitesh, Sharik Zafar, Shivam Shukla, Srijesh Nair, Sudhir Chaudhary, Suresh Pal, Tania Poddar, Tushar Goyal, Vaibhav Taneja, Wasir Harkirat Singh Paramjeet Singh, Vishnu D, Vivek Chauhan, Yatish Dua.
May I now request Professor Sudeep Sanyal, Dean Engineering, to present the candidates for the award of Bachelor of Technology in Biotechnology.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you 8 candidates to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of degree of Bachelor of Technology in Biotechnology, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Biotechnology.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act, as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Biotechnology, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Biotechnology, and require you that in thought, word and action, you prove yourself worthy of it.
The candidates are Sharanya Mishra, Amol Singh Banga, Amrita Sen, Anushka Chakrabarti, Hirgond Akash Ashok, Lasya Priya Kanchi, Navya Singh, Tekuru Vishnu Kaushik.
May I now request Professor Sudeep Sanyal, Dean Engineering, to present the candidates for the award of Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you 146 candidates to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of degree of Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act, as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering and require you that in thought, word and action you prove yourself worthy of it.
The candidates are Divanshu Gaur, Sandeep Kumar, Altaf Muhammad, Animesh Singh, Arjun Sambyal, Ashish Divedi, Chenna Sankalp, Chirag Jain, Gumula Naga Venkata Arun Kumar, Kenneth Prabhakaran, Nair Tejas Deepak Kumar, Vallam Reddy Kaushik Reddy, Aryaman, Abhishek Singh, Adi Vishnu Reddy, Aditya Sagar Ranka, Aditya Vikram Rajawat, Akanksha Bansal, Akshit Sareen, Allah Kaushal Kumar Reddy, Alanki Manikanta, Amin Pranay Balkrishna, Amle Rutuja Shivaji, Ananya Joshi, Anirudh Verma, Anjali Mishra, Arepalli Shammukh Prakash, Arnav Goel, Arundhati Das, Arushi Sehgal, Avni Tyagi, Ayushi Kapoor, Bandi Guru Vishnu, Bangaru Rahul Reddy, Boddu Siri Chandana, Chenupati Sai Revan, Chetipalli Gaurav Tej, Deshamon Praveen Kumar, Igala Rakesh, Etam Setti Karthik, Gaddam Brijesh Reddy, Gaddamidi Pritika, Gare Dineshwar, Garima Pandita, Golapudi Heman, Gopiseti Padmini Shrestha, Gulapalli Naga Tharun, Himangshu Nikhare, Hitangshi, Ishan Jain, Jandham Chaitanya, Jasti Pranay Chaudhary, Jatin Kumar Jain, Jayanti Venkat Sai Lakshman, K. Pranit Abhinav, Kagitha Sai Prakash, Kamma Vivek, Kandula Pavan Kalyan Reddy, Kanika Sharma, Kare Kamal, Kaustubh Kishore, Khernar Nikhil Kishore, Kiriti P.D. Setti, Koduru Ramanjanaya Veeravenkata Subhakar, Kola Praveen, Koluru Vamsi, Kopagiri Prithvi Sriraj, Lakhini Jagdish, Mahen Manish Gandhi, Malipedi Kaushik, Manal Soni, Manan Thakkar, Manda Sai Prabha Reddy, Manji Prashant Kumar, Maruti Reddy Billa, Masupalli Bhavyashri, Mathi Naga Sarath Kumar, Mayank Rana, Muhammad Owais, Mogula Purushottam Gaur, Muhammad Shoaib Belim, Monish Magesh, Nampalli Sai Kumar, Nandish Agarwal, Navneet Krishnan, Niharika Gupta, Neeraj Kumar, Nelakuditi Eshwar Teja, Nikhil Dugar, Nishank Venkat Telaparthi, Nizampatnam Manoj, Para Hitesh, Param Bhavnani, Pedi Sai Ritik, Pedideni Vinay Chaudhary, Penigalapati Sai Kumar, Petula Naveen Reddy, Piyush Katoch, Potabatini Ravi Teja, Pragya Dutt, Pragya Kapoor, Pratinav Srivastav, Pushpinder, Putham Vidu Krishna Akash, Rachita Sharma, Raghav Singhal, Rashi Sharma, Ronak Suri, Ravula Harish Reddy, Revangshi Verma, Rishikesh Kumar Singh, Rohit Vempati, Ruchi Agrawal, Rupali Vyas, Sai Vinita KVV, Sakshi Dhawan, Sai Raghunath Ravindra, Sania Kapoor, Sheikh Shoaib, Sheikh Muhammad Mateen Muhammad Shaifullah, Shardul Thakre, Shashwat Mishra, Shaurav Srivastav, Shetty Vikrant Bhavani Shankar, Shikhar Srivastav, Shivam Garg, Shivam Paul, Shivam Thakrani, Shrish Goel, Shreya Singhi, Shreyansh Dubey, Shruti Sharma, Simhadri Gopi Chandan, Tanish Verma, Tanisha Garg, Telugu Ravichandra, Toshi Saxena, Uparapalli Shravani, V. Yamini Lakshmi, Vaibhav Goel, Valluru Shri Priya, Vidit Solanki, Vispute Pratik Vivek, Vista Vincent, Yenduri Satyanarayana Murthy Sasang, Yugandhar Daulat Desai.
May I now request Professor Sudeep Sanyal, Dean Engineering, to present the candidates for the award of the Bachelor of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering.
Sir, I have the honor to present to you 13 candidates to whom I know to be suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of degree of Bachelor of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering, and pray that they may be awarded the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering.
I request the Honorable Chairman, Academic Council, Professor Rajesh Khanna, to confer the degree to the respective degree recipients.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Act, as the Chairman of the Academic Council of NIT University, and in recognition of your being suitable as much by character as by learning, and having successfully completed the necessary requirements for the award of the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Technology in Electronics and Communication Engineering, and require you that in thought, word and action, you prove yourself worthy of it.
The candidates are Akash Chakravarti, Anurag Paul, Joyashi Tanmay Prabhakar, Kartik Bala Somesa Upadhyalu, Kartik Ram Mamidala, Muhammad Anas Saifi, Nilakshi Talukdar, Pranav Pramod, Rahul Singh Rawat, Shivam Verma, Shubhankar, Tanishk Saini, Tarun Agarwal.
Let the oath be administered. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Sanjeev Dhar to lead the oath.
Please repeat after me. I hereby pledge that
I hereby pledge that
I will constantly endeavor
I will constantly endeavor
to be honest and upright
to be honest and upright
in the discharge of my duties.
in the discharge of my duties.
I will uphold
I will uphold
the dignity of the individual
the dignity of the individual
and the integrity of the profession.
and the integrity of the profession.
I will utilize my knowledge and learning
I will utilize my knowledge and learning
for the glory of NIT University
for the glory of NIT University
and for the service of the country
and for the service of the country
and mankind at large.
and mankind at large.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev Dhar. I have the honor of inviting our co-founder, Mr. Vijay Kumar Thadani, to extend his wishes to the graduating Newtons and formally welcome our chief guest, Dr. Arunabha Ghosh, for his address.
Dr. Arunabha Ghosh, my colleagues from NU, and my dear Newtons. At the outset, I take this opportunity to congratulate the graduating class of students, our dear Newtons, on this very important milestone in your lives. You are a very special batch with some unique capabilities. You adapted yourself to the disruption caused by the pandemic, and through the process of learning remotely and working remotely, you validated and successfully demonstrated your internalization of the 4 core principles of the university: technology-based, industry-linked, research-driven, and seamless. You have thus truly earned the spurs of Newton, the title of Newton that you can proudly use for the rest of your life. Every batch of students leaves behind a distinct imprint in the evolution of the institution, and you have not been any exception. You made special contribution to the institution building process with the awards you won, the papers you published, the fora that you excelled in, and especially the way you helped co-create Nugget, the integrated digital platform of the university, which incidentally has been receiving rave reviews from our peer academics and academic community. We are grateful to you for each of these. As you fly away from this nest, which has been your home for the last 4 years, you should know that the doors will always remain open for you to come back and be a part of this nest. You'll be missed by your faculty and staff, whom you fondly called nurturers. You'll be missed by your juniors. You'll be missed by the tree that you planted and your favorite spots at the campus, Tera Mera Point, Apno Gaon. Ringo, Brownie, and other members of the Canine Club will miss your presence and affection. At this juncture, we express our special gratitude to your parents for giving us an opportunity to shape you into what you have become. Dear parents, 4 years ago, you gave us brilliant, enthusiastic, and curious boys and girls. Today, we proudly return back to you, confident, ambitious, and mature young men and women who are true 21st century professionals. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment that you've all been waiting for. But before that, a bit of context. The present state of planetary environment calls for greater attention to questions related to climate change. Ensuring a sustainable and equitable future for a resilient planet has over the years been finding greater salience on various fora. The growing number of climate change related disasters around the world, ranging from Amazon wildfires to Texas cold wave, to the warming of the Arctic, and to the most recent Hurricane Ida, which dumped historic rain over New York City, are all interconnected and are increasingly compounding each other. Disasters that occur thousands of kilometers apart are getting related to one another, and can have consequences for people living in distant places. The butterfly effect is no longer in the realm of academia and conjecture. It is in this context that I consider it my proud privilege to present to you a public policy professional, an advisor, author, columnist, and an institution builder. A Stephanian and a topper in economics, and to top it all, a doctorate from Oxford. These are some of the honors he wears lightly on his sleeves. He is not only an acknowledged authority on the subject of climate change, but in more ways than one, represents the soft power of the resurgent India and its intellectual heft at the global policy-making stage. Ladies and gentlemen, I am referring to Dr. Arunabha Ghosh. Dr. Arunabha is the founder CEO of the Council of Energy, Environment, and Water. Since 2010, he has led CEEW to the top ranks as one of Asia's leading policy research institutions and amongst the world's 20 best climate think tanks. His professional associations include Princeton, Oxford, and multilateral institutions like UNDP and WTO, amongst others. Dr. Ghosh's essay, Rethink India's Energy Strategy, in Nature journal, was selected as one of 2015's 10 most influential essays. Dr. Arunabha advises governments, industry, civil society, and international organizations around the world. Amongst other such associations is the fact that he was invited by France to advise on the COP21 climate negotiations. As a pragmatic policy advisor, he is aware that the intellectual challenge that we are faced with is to harmonize competing ends of the extremities of the spectrum, and that development often comes into conflict with the environment. But we don't have the luxury of persisting with business as usual. Dr. Arunabha has quoted Colombian Nobel Prize winning author Gabriel Garcia Marquez from his novel Love in the Time of Cholera. And I quote, "The most important thing in a good marriage is not just happiness, but stability." This is quite apt from the perspective of intergenerational equity, as we have an onerous responsibility to hand over a stable and a healthy ecosystem to the future generations, rather than a depleted one for the happiness of the present generation. Dr. Arunabha, you would find it particularly interesting to note that sustainability forms or is a part of the very DNA of NIT University and finds its expression right from the vision, mission, and the core principles of the university on one hand, and architecture, construction, and policies on the other. It's also visible in every of the university's activities, whether it is academics, research, clubs, projects, or any other issue that the university is faced with. And we look forward to welcoming you on the campus in person very, very soon. So with this backdrop, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Dr. Arunabha Ghosh.
Mr. Rajendra Singh Pawarji, Chairman, NIIT Limited and founder of NIIT University. Mr. Vijay Thadani, MD, NIIT Limited and co-founder of NIIT University. Professor Rajesh Khanna, President, NIIT University. Members of the leadership team at NIIT University, faculty and staff of NIIT University. I believe you're called nurturers, and of course, Newtons, the fellow students. Namaskar. Thank you for extending this warm welcome to me to deliver the annual convocation address to the graduating class of 2021. I feel very humbled that you considered me for this role. So let me start by offering my sincere congratulations to the faculty, administrators, and visionaries behind NIIT University. I had an opportunity to learn about NIIT University at length from conversations with Mr. Pawar. I had in fact looked forward to visiting the campus in person, but due to some personal challenges at my end, I was unable to do so, and that is my regret, and I hope to visit the campus in the near future. I have, however, discovered through documents and short films and conversations with Air Commodore Singh that your beautiful campus is a labor of love and a work in progress. You have taken a desert and started growing a forest. You have conserved the soil and fertilized it more. You have recharged the water and reused the waste. You have channeled the air and filled your lungs. When we think of a campus, what comes to mind? Open spaces, a syncretic relationship with nature, and an ecosystem to think and to act. It is evidently clear that you are indeed making that imagination become real. Several years ago, one January, I was running along a frozen canal within the Tsinghua University campus in Beijing. I came upon a clump of trees. In the winter, they were young, dry, and mostly leafless. And a plaque marked it as Centennial Garden. The trees had been planted by more than 100 university presidents from across the world to celebrate or commemorate the 100th anniversary of Tsinghua University, which is now ranked as the best in China. And on that plaque was a Chinese proverb, and I quote, "It takes decades for trees to grow, but a century to nurture talents," unquote. I would like to imagine what NIIT University would be 100 years from now, when these trees that you have planted would be ancient living beings giving shade to burgeoning young talents. So let me also extend my congratulations to the class of 2021. You're graduating not just from a university, but can claim to be the defining class that graduated out of a pandemic. So many of you must have struggled with deep anxieties, personal challenges, maybe even loss of loved ones. Yet here you are, certifying your individual success, celebrating your fellowship with each other, and commemorating the fact that you're just here. The ritual of an annual graduation ceremony has become so routine that we forget that during the last global pandemic 100 years ago, this was not a privilege for most humans. In fact, getting a higher education degree is still a privilege for the few, but the world is infinitely different in 2021 than it was in 1921. So you are the chosen few who stand at the inflection point, not just for your generation, but for several generations past and many that are yet to come. That is because you're graduating with a degree in life. What we have all been through for the past 2 years was not part of your curriculum when you signed up. But what better education could you have received than living through a period that showed the best and the worst of humanity and its place on the planet? So what is a university? Why is it called a university? Because this is where you come, where you contemplate your place in the universe. I often turn to Meditations, a book written by the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, almost exactly 2,000 years ago, in the 170s of the Christian era. Here is a passage that appeals to me a lot, and I quote, "Not to know what the world is to be ignorant of where you are. Not to know why it's here is to be ignorant of who you are and what it is. Not to know any of this is to be ignorant of why you are here. And what are we to make of anyone who cares for the applause of such people who don't know where or who they are?" My wish for all of you is that you seek less the validation of people who don't know where or who they are. And instead, may you become more conscious and more contemplative about the world you are in, why you are here, and what legacy you will leave behind. These themes will be the subject of my address. So let's start with, what is this world that you are entering? Describing the world is a fool's errand, because each one of us will have our own perspectives. Nevertheless, from what I see, I can outline 5 trends that are defining the world in which we live. First, the age of the Anthropocene. Our natural ecosystems are under unprecedented pressure. As any forensic investigator would comment, the imprint of humans is evident enough to make our species outright culpable. 3/4 of the land-based environment and 2/3 of the marine environment have been significantly altered by human activity. Our food demand alone has ensured that more than 1/3 of the world's surface and nearly 75% of our freshwater resources are now devoted to crop and livestock production. Our insatiable appetite as a species is crowding out the space for others, with around 1 million plant and animal species now threatened with extinction. This pace of species loss has no parallel in human history. And this is not all. The safe operating space for 3 planetary boundaries, climate change, biodiversity loss, and biogeochemical processes, have already been breached. Others, such as consumption of fresh water, might be well below the threshold, but water stress is a reality already in populous and fast-growing Asia. So if you had any doubts about climate change, lay them to rest. Global surface temperatures are now 1.1 degrees higher in 2011 to 20 than it was in the pre-industrial era. The world will breach the safe limit of 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming within the next 2 decades, with extreme events rapidly rising. Many scientists now argue that since the Industrial Revolution, we have now entered a new planetary epoch, the Anthropocene, replacing the stable interglacial period of the Holocene since about the last 11,000 years. And humans are the key agents of change on Earth and for the Earth system, and the main driver of disruption of the Earth's resilience. Seemingly faraway events will begin to impact us. For instance, just in the last 30 years, the Arctic region has warmed at about 0.8 degrees Celsius per decade. That's more than thrice the global average. But the melting ice is now the most important cause for sea level rise. This is not the Arctic's problem alone, but would severely impact coastal and low-lying areas all over the world. Arctic heating and changing weather patterns could impact the severity of heat waves in South Asia. Last summer, I did a small experiment with my young daughter. We froze a bottle of water and then placed it on a metal plate to film its melting. Initially, very slow, almost negligible, and then with increasing rapidity. The same happens to the Earth's more vulnerable regions. Warming at the South Pole or the North Pole has been 3 times faster than the global average over the last 30 years. The Himalayas, the Hindu Kush region, are equally vulnerable and will warm faster than the world average. And it's those tipping points that we should be worried about. The second trend I see is what I call a perfect storm of risks. If we are literally changing the face of the planet, what will the planet do to us? In this age of the Anthropocene, we are likely to face perfect storms of risks. In 2008, there were 2 global crises. One was the financial crisis. The other, less known, was a crisis in food supply. A combination of high oil and energy prices, high cost of fertilizers, a demand shock for cereals, declining food stocks, sent food prices through the roof. The resulting food shocks created political crises in many parts of the world. In the near future, India must confront the prospect of a perfect storm of global shocks involving pandemics, water stress, agricultural losses, tensions over energy supplies, growing trade disputes, extreme weather events impacting insurance firms and the financial sector, mass movement of environmentally displaced people. And when these risks come all at the same time, they overwhelm our social, economic, and administrative capacities to respond. We've already witnessed all of this in recent months and weeks. 3/4 of India's districts today are now hotspots for extreme climate events like droughts, floods, and cyclones. And we must understand that the extremes today could very well become the norm of tomorrow because climate risks are non-linear. The past is not a good predictor of the future. South Asia, several parts of Africa will face severe droughts even with just 1.5 to 2 degrees of warming. Sea level rise in the Indian Ocean will be 1.5 times more than the global average. This will be devastating for a country like ours with more than 7,000 kilometers of coastline, leaving hundreds of billions of dollars of infrastructure stranded, imposing severe financial stress on not just us, but our children. The biggest lesson I take away is that what we thought was distant is here. What we thought would happen in the future is now. And the time to act was yesterday. So we come to the third trend. What is the direction of the economy? Rodney Brooks, a former director of the MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, once said, and I quote, "Predicting the future is really hard, especially ahead of time." I rather say that the only way to predict the future is to shape it. Yet, it is now very clear that the shape of the economy will be different from the past. The future will be increasingly digitized, significantly decentralized, and necessarily decarbonized. Artificial intelligence and automation will unfold at different speeds within the same economic system. AI, big data, automation, quantum computing could fundamentally alter economic progress. Governments across the world are pushing national strategies in this area. But this shift will not be discrete. Old and new industries, technologies, and methods of production will coexist. This multi-velocity automation will complicate industrial strategy. There is already a push to acquire these emerging technologies and corner market shares. China, for instance, wants to become an artificial intelligence superpower by the end of this decade. The question we should be asking then is how can India's climate policy help to transform the economy to be more resilient and more competitive in a climate changed world. Will India make steel in 2050? Yes. Will steel manufacturing look the same then as now? Very unlikely. Will India make cars in 2040? Yes. Will it be able to export petrol-driven cars by then? Almost certainly not. Will India face carbon-related trade barriers in 2030? Very possible. Every major economic sector now faces a choice. Pursue brown growth and short-term competitiveness, or pursue low carbon growth, green jobs, and long-term resilience. There are signs from governments. There are signs from the markets. There is a swathe of large institutional investors demanding more stringent environmental, social, and governance norms. The day of reckoning of Indian companies dependent on fossil fuels is not far. And there are signs from the border. The European Commission, for instance, has proposed carbon border tariffs, which will severely impact our exports. So will we wait to decarbonize until the economy gets buffeted by climate shocks, or by institutional investors insisting on greener credentials, or by carbon tariffs in our major export markets, or will we move proactively to be an industrial leader in the green economy? India needs hundreds of billions of dollars of investment in renewables, in electric mobility, industrial energy efficiency, and shutting down dirtier thermal power plants. These investments would have net benefits in terms of avoided costs of pollution and damages from climate change. But the capital is insufficient and expensive. We need to attract the capital. We need to be able to co-develop the technologies of the future, whether it's green hydrogen, whether it's advanced biofuels. Significant investment in R&D will be needed, and that is where institutions like NIT University come in. We need a new mantra of jobs, growth, and sustainability. And for this, we must grab or create opportunities in at least three areas: the inclusion of the rural economy, sustainable urbanization, and green industrialization. Let me give some examples. In the rural economy, there is a $53 billion opportunity of powering up the productive side of the rural economy. Things like cold storage, looms, rice mills, sewing machines. Solar-powered hydroponic stations that create green fodder for our cattle is a potential $4 billion market in India alone. Distributed solar refrigeration for commercial applications is a $20 billion market in India. Solar-based irrigation can become sustainable if systems were integrated so that surplus power could feed back into the grid while the farmers get additional income and improve their water efficiency. All of this is possible in the rural economy. The same happens with sustainable urbanization. India is already the world's third largest country just by its urban population. But its unplanned, chaotic, and misgoverned cities could become the new laboratories of new technologies, new business models. Distributed energy, for instance, rooftop renewables, is a huge multi-billion-dollar opportunity. Indian cities could be built in ways that we move less and do more. So what would sustainable mobility look like? If electric vehicles, for instance, hit cost parity with the internal combustion engine vehicles by 2030, India could have 27 million electric vehicles by 2030 alone. Of course, the carbon dioxide emissions will be lower. At the same time, the bulk of Indians walk in cities. 37% of urban Indians use buses, trains, and other forms of public transport. Can we have a mobility transition in our cities that provides public transport but which is also electric? Water is our weakest link. Each urban area and its associated watershed has a carrying capacity, and you would know better than anyone else, given what you have done in the region that you have put in your footprint. It is imperative that we measure water and water availability and water consumption. Only then we can have the water recharge measures, whether it's rainwater harvesting, rehabilitating lakes, desilting canals, and make them more effective. Of course, our farms have to become far more water efficient. Otherwise, the economic loss of that water inefficiency will be somewhere in the order of about $870 billion in 2030 and $2.5 trillion in 2050. And at the same time, our cities have to give building permits only if developers are able to prove that they've installed the systems that recharge water more than what is being taken. Urban sewage, which mostly gets untreated, can become a new driver of a circular economy where each drop of water gets reused many times over, and that the treated sewage becomes used as minerals for fertilizers. What initially was just considered a cost suddenly can become a resource to generate revenue. And beyond our rural economy and our urban economy, there is green industrialization. Industrial decarbonization will be the next big driver of where investment flows. India's automotive sector, for instance, which employs millions, can have 6% additional value addition in 2030 compared to the business as usual scenario if we were able to manufacture most of the electric vehicle powertrains and battery packs here in India. Remarkable progress is being made in battery technologies across the world. It's no surprise that some of the biggest conglomerates in India are now thinking of building gigafactories in India. Steel, cement, fertilizer, petrochemicals, these account for about 3/4 of our industrial emissions. Yet, India is the lowest cost steel producer in the world. India's cement sector is the most energy efficient in the world. But in a growing economy, our total emissions will grow. So how do we lower the carbon footprint of our heavy industries without deindustrializing? India's big bet on green hydrogen could be a game changer as India aspires to become a hub of green hydrogen production, consumption, and export. Recycling of minerals can create the mineral security that we need to invest in high technologies. 44% of India's critical minerals demand could be sourced just from recycling e-waste. That brings me then to the fourth big trend, the imperative of jobs. So many of you are now heading into the marketplace. India needs to create millions of jobs every year, and yet there is continued uncertainty about the quantity and the quality of jobs. Some years ago, I worked on an initiative on the future of jobs, and we identified several drivers that would shape the jobs ecosystem. That included systems of lifelong learning, the shapes and sizes of enterprises, the presence of social security systems, and whether technology and innovation would enable inclusive growth. But here too, the climate crisis will have serious implications. For India, nearly 75% of its labor force is exposed to heat stress. Change creates uncertainty, but also opportunity. Commentary about artificial intelligence and losses of jobs is worrisome at one level, but at the same time we see, say in the United States, more than 78,000 researchers now in artificial intelligence alone. China has half that number. So as technologies evolve, the pattern of jobs will change. For productive employment and decent work, we need to look for opportunities for new skills and new sectors. Decentralized energy, rooftop systems create 7 times more jobs than large-scale solar, which creates more jobs than coal-based power. Water, sanitation, waste management, clean energy, all these will be important growth areas for jobs. In an economy enabled by these new technologies, one's personal economic value is likely to be inversely proportional to the standardization of tasks. So the more unique the job, the greater would be one's value in the workforce. And workers are likely to develop multiple skills spread across multiple jobs. We now come to the fifth, final trend. We have an uncertain geopolitics amidst stressed domestic politics. The tentative stability of the Cold War era was replaced by the exuberance of the 1990s and the 2000s, followed by economic uncertainty after the financial crisis, the rise of China, fraying multilateralism, challenges to regional stability in our broader region, security threats at our borders, and emerging security platforms and alliances. And like dominoes, the pandemic set in motion a sequence involving public health, job loss, financial insolvency, economic recession. These economic indicators will be supplemented with social stress. And we can expect that the social fissures on cultural lines, on religious lines, will get deeper and erupt into civil strife. Beyond all of this, I have two more worries: technocentrism and technomercantilism. Our instinct is to look for technologies to solve problems. We over-engineer rather than trust nature. So a dam takes more precedence in our thinking than a water recharge well. A concrete seafront embankment gets more investment than saving the mangroves as a buffer against storm surges. Why not focus on retaining carbon in healthy soils? Soils store 2,500 billion tons of carbon, thrice than what is in the atmosphere. But for that, you have to invest in the soil. And equally, technomercantilism, this feeling that we have to control all the technology rather than collaborate. Of 15 emerging markets I have studied, only 4 were net exporters of renewable energy equipment. We need an agenda to diversify our supply chains in emerging technologies that gives many more countries, many more companies a stake in the green industries of the future, increase that interdependence, and reduce the scope of conflict. And that then brings me to my second theme for today's lecture. If you accept that humans have indelibly altered the planet, that the risks of various kinds will test our resilience, that the economy of the future will look very different, that we will still need to create lots of decent jobs, and that world politics is uncertain at best, how do you, entering into this new world, navigate this mess? So Newtons, here's an epiphany. You are here because there is a silent demand for leadership. This is not about contesting elections or becoming a CEO. It is instead about taking responsibility of one's decisions and taking ownership of our ability to be agents of change. Are we ready to take on that mantle? In an uncertain environment, the youth of today are swinging between impatience and self-doubt. Self-doubt is that annoying monkey on our shoulder, always ready to poke and irritate just for fun. In the best of times, it is an extra weight that we bear, hunching our backs as a result, rather than standing straight and tall. At other times, it bites off our head, makes us lose focus, and makes us vulnerable to vicious, maleficent attacks from those who want us to fail. Impatience is the other evil. It is our sense of urgency and impatience that allows us to be daring and demanding. But we also have to realize that some things do take time, like learning or sharpening a new skill, like recruiting the right team, like training and mentoring your colleagues, like planting and growing a tree. Most of all, it takes time to pave roads that have never been built. What makes the difference is not just hard work, but also commitment. Hard work can be beaten out of us, but commitment comes from within, to dig deep and stay there. In her book, Confidence, Harvard professor Rosabeth Moss-Kanter writes, and I quote, "The difference between success and failure is often how long people give it before they give up." Unquote. We have to conquer these two evils of self-doubt and impatience. We do ourselves the greatest disservice by not doing so. Otherwise, there would be no self-belief, and we would withdraw from the very bets that we have placed on ourselves. Once you acknowledge these two evils of impatience and self-doubt, we have to actively work to become transformational leaders. Leaders who are resilient and remarkable. This must be why you are here. This must be your purpose. So how do you build resilience? Remember, the mind does not control you, nor do you control the mind. Notwithstanding what we do, we have all struggled at an individual level with pressures and anxieties. We often fall prey to our minds playing tricks. It happens even in good times, even to the best of us. To act tough, we might instead wish to control our minds, our thoughts, our disquietude. But emotional resilience does not arise simply because we will it. It requires active practice to realize that neither the mind has complete sway over all our actions, nor can we just command it to obey us. If we think we've given something a lot of thought, we probably have not. Remember, bravado is not a substitute for meditation. Ultimately, the reserves of resilience can be built up by letting go of things we can't control and not overly attaching ourselves to things we can. And how do you become remarkable? Being remarkable is not about how much money you make or how quickly you gain a promotion. The sign of being remarkable is that you've changed the system, whatever it might be. You've done something that had not been imagined before, had not been considered possible before, that had not been attempted before, or that had not succeeded before. Consider these 4 conditions which could trigger widespread systemic transformation. Now, the simpler the action, the more powerful its message. Think about the Chipko movement or Gandhi's Salt March, just picking up a clump of salt to deliver the message. Second, a crisis is an opportunity, but it is also short-lived. Think of the economic reforms India started 30 years ago in the middle of a crisis. Think of what transformations could result from the current state we are in if we chose to act. Third, a confluence of the interests of the vulnerable and the elite. Think about the pandemic, it affects us all. Think about air pollution, it affects us all. The water crisis affects us all. And how we can trigger innovation faster and cheaper than before. And fourthly, change occurs when we can confidently reject Tina. There is no alternative. Once we believe there is an alternative in technology, in finance, in business models, in policy, in politics, anything becomes possible. And therefore, finally, I come to the third segment of my lecture. What is the legacy that you will then leave behind? Each one of you will make a personal choice. Regardless of the jobs you've picked, the startup ideas you're considering, the specialized skills you're hoping to deploy, I hope you will think about your legacy in at least 3 ways. First, innovation. Reimagine how technology could empower sustainable development. Think about technological applications to solve problems of the vulnerable for energy, water, health, education, cities, forests, oceans. How can machine learning algorithms, for instance, improve climate modeling by assigning weights to those models? How can AI support more flexible and autonomous electricity grids? How can wind turbines increase efficiency by learning from each propeller about the wind speed? How can sensors control systems improve irrigation efficiency in water-stressed regions and help marginal farmers? Technology will develop and get adopted at varying speeds, with attendant inequities and opportunities. How we channel our potential will depend on how our social and our political systems make conscious efforts to give primacy to the human agency to solve the challenges of human and planetary vulnerability. The second thing I wish you would consider in leaving behind is thinking or rethinking investment. India alone needs $2.5 trillion of investment over the next decade for its climate mitigation and adaptation actions. Worldwide, tens of trillions of dollars are located within pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, insurance funds, and yet capital is not flowing at sufficient scale and speed from capital rich to capital poor regions. So I hope some of you will devise the solutions for financial institutions and financial regulatory agencies to respond to the financial inclusion of companies, communities, and citizens. What kind of blended finance will channel $200 billion into renewable energy in India by 2030? What kind of consumer finance will you invent that will tap into the $206 billion market for electric mobility within this decade? What kind of public finance will create an insurance cushion against the $5 to $6 billion of disaster-related losses that we encounter every year? Remember, markets exist, but market failures also persist. Amidst debates about sustainable finance, nature gets excluded. We value products that clean up degraded resources, but not the assets that are clean. For instance, the country's GDP grows when a sewage treatment plant is built, but not when the river is not polluted to begin with. No financial product induces the latter. The day you devise the financial solution to value the wealth that you have around you, rather than the income we generate by degrading that natural wealth, you would have changed the very definition of prosperity. Nothing you imagine can ultimately scale on its own. You will need to build teams and tribes to take even the best of ideas and innovations to the world out there. But teams and tribes need anchors. And so, I hope some of you will also build institutions. For me, institution building is about people, process, and purpose. We must always seek smart people who will challenge us and help us grow, but who also have the maturity to balance curiosity, irreverence, and responsibility. In short, we need people who will both dream and deliver. But you also need to strive hard to maintain and simplify and improve processes from day one to scale your ideas and your enterprises. By focusing on the details of process, you will smoothen the inefficiencies that hold you back from achieving your goals. But whether it is a country or an institution, people and process will flounder without purpose. Without clarity of purpose, people remain uninspired at best and become selfish at worst. It is only our common purpose that can solve for complex problems and deliver on both individual and collective goals. To deliver on people, process, and purpose, we will need humility. Superstar athletes, world-famous musicians, the most brilliant of academics, the greatest of politicians, they have not become what they are today on their own. They had friends, parents, colleagues, coaches, mentors helping them. As one entrepreneur has observed, self-made is an illusion. There are many people who play divine roles in you having the life that you have today. Be sure to let them know how grateful you are. A few centuries ago, Isaac Newton had offered a similar articulation. If I have seen further, he said, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Will you, Newtons, also stand on each other's shoulders to reach ever higher? And to build a team, we will need empathy, the greatest skill you can deliver and develop. At the core of cultivating and maintaining empathy is the ability to walk in another person's shoes. Because we live in unempathetic times. Extremist ideology has always been around, but propaganda has always been deployed. What's different now is that social media amplifies the alternative truths and creates barriers between us. The worst kind of propaganda is one that you don't even hear about. This toxic combination of extremism, social media amplification, and stratification can make finding common ground within an organization or within a country very challenging. Being right is not the same as listening to others. Being wronged is no guarantee of having voice. When you build teams, create the conditions from which common ground can be found. Remember, Newtons, a leader is an individual. Leadership is for individuals. Assume leadership. Build your tribes of eager followers around your ideas and initiatives, and you will find that the faithful will gather around you. I have spoken about the world you're entering. I ask that in this world of crisis and opportunity, please listen to the silent call of leadership. Abandon your impatience, overcome your self-doubt. Become resilient and remarkable instead. Whether via innovations or investments or institutions, I urge you to think about the legacy you will leave. So congratulations, class of 2021. You've come so far and you're graduating with a degree in life. And yet the world is your oyster. Will you succeed? Who knows? Not even you. But will you try? That only you can know. Because for me, there is no shame in not knowing the final destination. But there is shame in not walking at all. I want to close with a verse of a poem I had written for my colleagues when my institution, CEW, celebrated its 10th anniversary. The poem is called Gratitude, and this is its final verse. If you wished your strokes could paint a grander canvas, fill your palette then with colors of adventure. If you deepened the roots or broadened the branches, erected them platforms, but feared no failure. If you strode solo or sprinted on long, lonely journeys, ran marathons that made you stronger to endure, if you could trust your instincts to believe your partners, I'd walk with you to the ends of the earth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. I request the Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Arunabha Ghosh, to award the Dr. Karan Singh Gold Medal for Academic Excellence to Ankita Gupta from Master of Technology in Education Technology, Shaumik Chakrabarti from Master of Technology in Geographic Information Systems, Nishita Agrawal from Master of Science Integrated in Computer Science, Sangeeta Nandan from Master of Business Administration, Ahir Taral Dhyaneshwar from Master of Business Administration in Business Analytics, Vaibhav Taneja from Master of Business Administration in Intelligent Data Science, and Niharika Gupta from Bachelor of Technology. The Ram Rajendra Malhotra Medal 2021 goes to the all-rounder graduating student of Bachelor of Technology, Pragya Dutt. Thank you, sir. Let us now take a short emotional journey with current final year batch, recollecting their sojourn with their seniors, followed by reflections of graduating batch.
Since you guys will be passing out this year, I wish you all the best with your life ahead. And it kind of saddens us that you guys are leaving now, but we really had good moments with you all.
आप लोगों के साथ हमारी जो सबसे अच्छी मेमोरीज थी, सबसे पहले हमारे इंजेनिटी, फिर उसके बाद हम लोग जो नाइट कैंप पे जाया करते थे, सुबह ट्रैक पे जाया करते थे, बाकी रात को जो हम हॉस्टल में बैठ के अपना मस्ती करते थे, बातें करते थे। आप लोगों के साथ हमारा पहला इंट्रो जो था, आपने हमें सिखाया था कि कैसे अपना मिलते हैं, कैसे क्या कैंपस में हुआ, आगे क्या होना चाहिए वगैरह, हमारी जो बातें हुई थी, तो वो सब चीज़ें हमें काफ़ी याद आएंगी और होप कि कभी हमें आगे चांस मिले साथ में सेम मेमोरीज हम रिलीव कर सकें। बाकी ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर फ्यूचर एंड होप यू ऑल डू वेल एंड बी अ सक्सेसफुल पर्सन इन योर लाइफ।
I think a lot of my memories with the 2017 batch was made when we went on morning treks together. So those 2-3 hours that we spent together talking about academics, talking about hostel life, talking about our experiences was a very great experience for me. And I think वो time कभी वापस नहीं आएगा because आप थे, आपके बाद हमारे बाद जो batches आएंगे वो different batches होंगे. I want to wish you good luck for your future and let's hope कि हम वहाँ पे कभी फिर से जा पाए ऊपर.
So it all started in resonance when we were like divided into clusters and we had mentors which were you all. And it was a very fun and exhilarating experience talking to you all. And then came the part of the intro where you all take our intro. And we were like scared at the very first. But then it came very well and we had like increased our bond very well. And then came the part of the birthdays where we celebrated it with shoes and slippers where you all beaded us. And it was also like a next part to our bonding. And then came the part of the fest like Ingenuity and Science Side where we used to work together. So it was a very fun experience interacting with you all and we will all miss you. And in the end, I would just like to congratulate you for your future and all the best for your journey.
यार आकांक्षा, तुम्हें नहीं लगता इस बार हमारी सीनियर्स की कॉन्वोकेशन काफी जल्दी आ गए हैं भागते भागते?
हाँ यार, I used to miss those days. जब हम लोग फर्स्ट ईयर में आए थे और ये लोग थर्ड ईयर में थे, we used to go on trek, morning walks, evening walks and lots of gossips.
है ना? Late night gossips with TMP.
और वो गुलाब जामुन की लड़ाई याद है?
कसम से यार, उस वक्त हमारी सीनियर्स हमें इतना सपोर्ट करते थे. मेस वाले भैया को बोलते थे, भैया और एक दे दो ना, बच्चे हैं ये लोग.
और वो नेस्कैफे का आइस टी, कोल्ड कॉफी एंड इवनिंग गॉसिप्स.
और एचओडी का ट्रीट.
हाँ यार,
हर बात पे भैया आज ये हुआ, चलो इस बात पे ट्रीट दे दो हमें, चलो चलते हैं एचओडी.
Really, I miss those days, yeah.
I miss them too. But anyways, congratulations to you guys.
And all the very best for your future.
Please come and meet us soon.
Hi everyone, hi to all my friends from 2017 batch. And I know हम लोग बहुत टाइम से मिल नहीं पाए हैं. तो ये जो जगह है ये मैंने अपना मैसेज देने के लिए स्पेशली चुनी है NEP because it is significant to all of us. I mean यहाँ पे हम हंसे हैं, हम लोग रोए हैं, गाए हैं. मतलब यहाँ पे ना जाने कितनी बातें बिगड़ी हैं, कितनी चीज़ें उलझी हैं और फिर यहीं पे आके सुलझी हैं. The road in front of me not just carries peoples and vehicles, it carries so many memories. And I would like to say, give my special thanks to the Music Society. उनका मैं शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगा क्योंकि it has been my constant throughout my 4 years. और हम सबकी लाइफ में एक ऐसा एक constant रहा होगा. And constant इस तरीके से कि अगर मेरी लाइफ में कुछ नहीं हो रहा होता था, I would just go to the music room and sing my heart out. या फिर many of you would have gone to the dance room and just dance your heart out. And एक बात जो मैं कहना चाहूँगा वो ये कि जब हम किसी ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या सोसाइटी का पार्ट रहते हैं या टीम का पार्ट रहते हैं, it draws the bridge, you know, between barely surviving to living life to its fullest.
Hi, I'm Sanya and I don't think this place needs an introduction. I'm at the bowl and I just want to say that this is the most celebratory part of our campus. From Makar Sankranti to all the fests to pulling all-nighters and setting up the stage and everything that our batch has done. I think, yeah, most of the celebratory things have happened right here. So this is a special place for us. And the bowl is also the point at our campus which is closest to the nature. From newborn puppies to just laying here and stargazing. I think it has one of the things that people can just not miss out about our campus, which makes it really special. The third thing, which is close to my heart, is also which becomes a part of every Newton's life inevitably, which are the walks that we go to around the bowl area. I think they're special because they give us a chance to connect with each other, and especially in my case, I made friends at an IIT who are really different but also so unique, all of you in your own sense. Some people are crazy about things like Japan, some people are crazy about finance, and I think I would have never, if I wouldn't have gotten this environment, I would not have learned about so many things. So at this campus, I didn't need any inspiration from outside because there was so much to learn here itself. So I just want to thank you all, and also to the upcoming batches. I hope you all have a really nice time here.
Sanya, AK sir. Guys, do you remember us sleeping here during Resonance? Can you imagine us sitting here right now after 4 years? I mean, I can't stop feeling so nostalgic right now, but there are a million things we did here in our auditorium, from Audacity, from TEDx, from invited talks. I'll miss you guys, and we don't even know how these 4 years went away. So I really feel blessed to be a part of NIT University.
Hi guys, I'm Pragya, and I'm currently standing between our unofficial mess and the basketball court. So this place was the hotspot for so many project-related discussions, for birthday celebrations, for all kinds of gossip, and of course a much-needed break from lab interactions. I believe most of us would resonate with the in-house events, sports events that we had. So that was a very lovely vibe. For me personally, I'd say I would really miss the morning jog that I used to do around the campus. The air was so fresh. The campus, felt beautiful, and it really gave me the perfect kickstart for my morning. It was really positive. The message to my batchmates and even my juniors would be that we are all in different phases of our life, and we are working towards separate goals. So NU helps us to catch that particular strength of ours and gets us to our own goal.
Hi guys, I'm Pragya, and right now I'm at the courtyard. This is the place where we'd have our post-exam discussions, and even though we didn't want to, so we'd just come out, we'd look at the question paper and then realize that हमने backside check भी नहीं किया है and we're getting really bad scores. For me personally, this is one place where I've had a lot of debates and discussions with amazing people that I've met over these 4 years. Our Paytm and bank balance used to decide was like directly proportional to whether we'll be having our lunch and dinner at mess or at HOD and Tuck. Courtyard used to look different and used to feel different during each and every fest, because the creative teams of each fest used to put their hearts and souls into making sure that this place looked as vibrant, dope and photogenic as possible. This is what represented the soul of our fests, and that's what I think I'm going to miss the most. I am glad that I got to meet such amazing people and spend those 4 years with all of you, and I'd just like to say farewell guys.
Hello there. Pragyas, stop fighting. On this occasion, I think I can safely say that around 90% of the time, people would often attend classes, roam around, and they might not have an idea of exactly what is going on in the course. But the 1 week before an exam, you will find libraries packed, books unavailable. You would find people awake at the oddest of times throughout the night. You would often roam out to find someone who might have downloaded that PPT from Moodle before it was deleted, or someone who was paying attention to the class in that particular topic and possibly had notes. The combined call to action that people had in this 1 week, the 4 batches, was truly astonishing. And saturated with all this, people would often do some crazy things, which obviously cannot be mentioned here. But for example, to fuel the night, people would often order food from TMP. And the person who would do this job is often a result of infighting, decided based upon who has the least syllabus left.
Hi everyone, I am Akash. So at the end of 4 years, अभी I am going down a memory lane, remembering कैसे मैंने यहाँ पे अपने 4 साल बिता दिए दोस्तों के साथ हंसी मजाक में, कैसे हम लोग वॉक्स पे जाते थे रात को डिनर के बाद, वहीं पे सारा झगड़ा, सारा सब कुछ, सारी दोस्ती, फिर नॉर्थ ईस्ट पॉइंट और में बैठ के वही ब्रूडिंग कि भाई क्या कर लिया अभी पूरा दिन, क्या होगा अब, फिर लास्ट में प्लेसमेंट्स का टेंशन, क्लासेस बंक, ये सब मिला के एक बहुत ही यादगार 4 साल हमने बिताए इधर. हमने ऐसे दोस्त बनाए जिनके साथ हम ऐसे मेमोरीज़ बनाए दैट विल स्टे फॉर अस फॉर द लाइफ टाइम. ऐसा रिश्ता बनाया है जो कि हमारे साथ पूरी ज़िंदगी हम याद रखेंगे कि हाँ कॉलेज लाइफ मेरा अच्छा गया था. जूनियर्स के लिए बस एक ही मैसेज है यार, इस कॉलेज लाइफ ना दोबारा नहीं आने वाला, इसको एंजॉय करो. बाद में देख लेंगे जो भी टेंशन वेंशन आएगा, हम देख लेंगे एक साथ, जो होगा देखा जाएगा. मस्त लाइफ को एंजॉय करना सीख लो, क्योंकि कॉलेज के बाद ना एंजॉय नहीं कर पाओगे आराम से.
Thank you all. That was quite nostalgic. Moving further, I would like to request Professor Rajesh Khanna, President NIIT University, to propose the vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Guest of the Convocation ceremony, Dr. Arunabha Ghosh, Founder Shri R.S. Pawar, Co-Founder Shri V.K. Thadani, members of the Board of Management, distinguished guests, graduating students and nurturers. I am honored to be a part of this convocation ceremony when our young Newtons, as our students are known as, have earned their spurs to leave an imprint of their intellectual prowess in the years to come in their chosen field of endeavor. Listening to the talk of Chief Guest, Dr. Arunabha Ghosh, has been an enlightening experience. And it is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks on 11th Convocation Ceremony of NIIT University. Dr. Ghosh has explained the importance of environmental sustainability in the larger context of the sustainability of human civilization. Working towards environmental sustainability is not a choice, it's a necessity. Ladies and gentlemen, we at NIIT University have integrated technology with research, industry, and nature for transforming outcomes of higher technical education, not only to impart the best quality education, but firmly believe in bringing about a change in the DNA of our thought so that Newtons aspire to be not just responsible professionals, but transformational leaders of our society. I would like to place on record sincere gratitude for this inspirational convocation address delivered by you, sir, which in many ways has validated our belief in environmental sustainability before it became a buzzword. I once again congratulate the young graduates of 2021 batch. As you walk out of the hallowed portals of NIIT University, we pray that you carry back the pleasant memories of your stay here, and that you leave this ceremony today with a duty to take forward the good name of NIIT University. It is our hope that wherever you are, whatever you do, it will reflect positively on all of us. We look forward to your continued association with you, and may you be a testimony to your alma mater. We wish you the very best in your professional and personal life. I would also like to extend special thanks on behalf of all of us to the proud parents of the graduating students for the support they gave to the students throughout their formative years, to the sacrifices you made to see your child hold his degree or her degree proudly, ready to face the world, have proved to be worthwhile. I congratulate you on being the proud parents of responsible citizens of the world. I also take this opportunity to thank our founding members, Shri Rajendra Pawar and Shri Vijay Kumar Thadani, for playing their part in shaping the young global citizens and prospective entrepreneurs. I have no words to describe the efforts you have to put in. Thank you for being a source of inspiration to all of us here. I would also like to place on record my profuse thanks to the members of the leadership team, the entire organizing team, all nurturers for their guidance and support at every stage who made this virtual convocation possible in the times that we are in. Finally, I would like to again congratulate all the graduating students and remind them with the quote of Swami Vivekananda, stand up, be bold, be strong. Take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you're creator of your own destiny. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our President, Professor Rajesh Khanna, Chairman, Academic Council, to declare the convocation to be closed.
I declare the convocation closed.
To conclude, I would once again congratulate all the graduates and wish a bright and successful career ahead. Now, all shall rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य
With this, we come to the end of the ceremonial proceedings of the day. Thank you all for joining us and gracing the occasion and blessing our graduates. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day ahead. Stay happy and safe. Thank you.